allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the town of Manlius planning board meeting for June 23rd, 2025. First item we have on our agenda is the approval of our minutes from the June 9th meeting. If anyone has any comments or questions on this, no, otherwise I would look for a motion to approve. Motion made by David, seconded by Arnie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And Richard abstained, Aaron? You abstained? Yes, I was there. I abstained. Okay, correct. All right. So minutes are approved from the last meeting. Okay. The next item on our agenda is for Dorothy Agrippino at 5040 Palmer Road, Manlius 13104. This is for special use permit renewal for the dog grooming and overnight boarding facility. Tax map number 116.01-22.6. We have received a tax special use permit in 2018, and we received a memo from Witches, our code enforcement officer, that he has reviewed the attached application, finds it to be in order, and there have been no complaints or violations. The neighboring property owners, and no changes from the original special use permit approval. So he recommends approval for a period of 7 years to expire June 23rd, 2032. Anyone have any comments or concerns? And if not, I will look for a motion. Okay, so motion made by Rich, seconded by Don to approve the special use permit for 7 years to June 23rd, 2032. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries to approve the special use permit. Okay, the next item on our agenda is RLD Development, LLC, Dr. Rico, at 7885 Manlius Center Road for parking lot expansion. Agenda for decision tonight. Next map number 062.03. Neil, if you would not letting us know any updates since the last time we were here.
Do you want me to share the screen, or do we care? Or I have to copies? I can point it out, whatever you prefer.
It's share the screen. We have the screen now, so we take advantage of our screen.
Do I have these? It says I'm on Wi-Fi.
Can you log into the meeting?
No. How do I log in? I gotta go to the website, don't I? Bear with me.
Yeah. And Lisa could make it all, but
Race. Let's see if you can do it. Oh, you beat me to it. Are those the latest ones?
yes. I noticed it says notes that it's incorporated for comments.
Yes.
So if you don't mind going over.
Certainly can. Again, my name is Neil Zinsmeyer, Naparella Consulting, back again for 7085 Manlius Center Road. The plan itself is the same amount of parking spaces, same amount of landscaping, none of that changed. What we did change was the drainage to the west of the parcel. To the left of the screen. I say view left, there you go. Keep going, then go up a little bit so you can see the top more.
That way.
So that's the layout plan. That sheet did not change at all. So if you go to the next sheet, it just gives the overall view on the aerial. Right there's good enough.
Okay.
Other way, you can move it on, other way. Other way again. My other way. Keep going, keep going. Oh, you bounce back again. All right, right there. That's good. Perfect. Stop. Sorry. So to the left of the screen, assuming that's what you guys also see, you'll see some contours in the drainage easement that the town has. What Doug had asked for is a drainage memo. So we found the historic drainage memo from 20-something years ago from Dunn and Segromo Engineers. And that grading that we have was never built for the Kinney Drugs and these office buildings. So we ran some new numbers, we ran new analysis through the drainage program, and we're basically recreating a little storage area so it's no impact on the overall development from the original days, when it was the Kinney Drugs and the offices all in the back. So the plan stays the same, minus the drainage improvements to the west that's in the town drainage easement. I assume Doug had a chance to look at it.
We're fine with
And
it.
it does replicate the original design, but I would like to state, this is just for our project. If a project comes in the future, that's on them to do something on these vacant parcels. I would hope that they would have to be held to the same standard that we were and look at this again for any future development. So this is just for our parking lot, 7085.
Yeah, I swear what you say, right? If anybody else comes in at a later date,
Yeah.
we'll have to review it on its own, right? But what he's put in here is calculations checked out.
I ran it just enough for hours. I didn't want to incorporate the unknown. It's been unknown for 20-something years, and maybe another 20 more beforehand. So overall, plan stays the same. It's really just the drainage memo and the drainage basin to the north that changed.
I'll open it up to the board for any questions or comments.
Correct, my notes, he addressed the only thing that we asked him to the last.
Yeah.
Whose property is that?
That is on the original developer's property, but it's in a town easement. It's shown on the survey that we was submitted last time, which I believe that gives us the reason to do it there.
Yep. Okay, yep.
Well, for a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion made by Don.
There's one condition, one condition that we were talking about, that the approval is related to this project improvement. And then future improvements are otherwise.
Yeah. I think that's- All right, big motion.
Saying in the future, if somebody else comes in, you're forced to do another, basically sort of, figure out what that issue is property.
There's an existing split on file with the county. Here, and there was an original project that was put in there, all the land was dedicated, but when Neil and I talked about it, he went out, he saw the same thing I did, so it was never completed. Project was never completed, so for what Neil did here, it picks up the drainage on his driveway. Whoever comes in next, this has been an ongoing issue since I've been here. Last time it came in, somebody wanted to put a building there, and they didn't want to do the stormwater, so it's practice. These last couple parcels.
My question for you, that is, how we put that on his.
Well, we'd have to see what they send in, right? Right? We'd have to see what they send in, right? I mean, it's gonna be the future project and the future developer.
Just to know.
Have it in there that we would want to be looking for any additional.
Yeah, do we want to add, just add this? Because, I mean, a lot of this, I know this is all recorded, so it won't go in practice, but just say that it will be consistent, but. Yeah, I think that was good.
Sure.
Just that, and with the understanding, or just that condition, with the understanding that there was a case. That way, anybody, when we're not around, looks at it, goes, what am I?
As long as it's a note and not an obligation, right?
Oh, for them?
Yes.
No, I don't think so, right? It's for whoever would be coming in and saying, now we want to do this building, we want to use it. Yeah.
Which is point.
That's my understanding.
Why are we putting that on?
Right, yeah.
But it's part of the easement, right? It's a condition on the easement. Right, but that parcel that belongs to the town.
Yes.
So the town.
It doesn't belong to the
Doesn't
town.
belong to the town.
It's just an easement.
Sorry, said easement.
Yeah, it doesn't, the town doesn't actually own it. They own the easement, not the land.
What authority is on this lot?
Right, but what happened is when, those, you could slip, that all came up.
Right, the note. Sort of. Anything, it's gonna go through the wall.
Yes, and
Yes,
I hope so.
so why would we?
just because this one is pre-existing.
It's like this one's getting downside, but I don't think it's really like. This kind of wording goes in, factors, the whole operating, anyway.
It's just like a extra note. And anybody who were to come before the board to develop that other lot, for instance, would have the same process that he's doing. Analyze the existing drain, analyze the existing drainage reports, and then come up with their plan that doesn't increase.
I know what that is saying, nobody saying,
Right.
why would you?
I could go either way.
I don't think it hurts to put it in there, but it doesn't change it.
I'm okay putting it into, I think it's proper. It's really for the benefit of the planning board 10 years ago.
Right.
When Doug is here, so in 10 years, tell the next applicant. Back in the day.
Alright, so. I'll, like, keep your motion down.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Alright, so we have motion with Don, seconded by Rich, with the note. Of the stormwater note. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. Is for raise for discussion and set a date for the public hearing for a site plan and special use permit for a indoor driveway at 6940 Chef's Quarters Road. Tax map number 041, 20-01, -08.1. So Ed would like to let us know if John would like to. Yes.
Yeah.
And as you're talking, I assume you have done comments and if you want to address any of those.
Yeah, we can
As you're talking,
close to those.
okay. And then we'll open it to the board.
All right, well, I guess I'll leave this here for now.
The easel's back there.
We'll start, yeah, let me
Okay.
kind of get the backdrop for a second. So how we got to where we are now is, so when we were in here before, if you guys remember the original building, it was 2 levels. The driving range had 2 levels to it. It was also going to be metal construction. We got all the approvals in place. He starts pricing everything out and realized that that building was just unaffordable. Various lenders couldn't swing it. He couldn't do it. Didn't fit the budget. So they started with little minor tweaks to the building and realized it really just needed to be overhauled. So what they ended up conceding to was dropping the second level of driving ranges, reducing them from 16 to 10. And with that, it also allowed them to go from metal construction to wood construction. Now that's just framing. So the exterior is going to stay the same. It's the same siding, same windows, same roof as you guys saw before. They just went from 18,000 square feet to about 13,000 and changed the building material. Other than that, you know, the overall use of the project is the exact same. There's still a bar in there. You can see the restaurant, mini golf outside, stormwater, septic, driving ranges, parking lot. So the use itself is going to stay the exact same, the use of the project. When they redesigned, when we had the building redesigned, when that was done, the surveyor went out and staked out the building location. And John then, as part of this deal, sort of had a second thought on where he might want the building. He thought it was just a little too far away from the road. So he had us take a look at the site plan to see if we could shift the building a little bit closer to the road for visual purposes and to keep it from too much of the impact going towards the wood brush area out to the east. They were really, really close with the numbers. So they asked me to go in and see if we could do any kind of value engineering on the site plan. I didn't, to be honest, I really didn't see a lot. The only thing that we were able to do with it was because of the reduction in the building, we could eliminate some of the parking. So we eliminated some of the asphalt to the north, and also, I guess as a group sort of agreed that the originally proposed driveway going in there was redundant because the mini golf parking lot was proposed the way that it was. So we could get rid of that dedicated roadway that was just to the north and have the entrance shifted south to come into the parking lot where you see it now. Same sign up front again. Mini golf configuration has stayed the same. We just split the building over and kind of tucked it into the mini golf there so that the access was a little bit more, well, I should make a note about that too. With the movement of the building the way it is and the entrance on the west side, as you can see, the main entrance is now on the west side because they wanted the visual for the entrance to be on the roadside. So again, it was a little bit more, I guess, overall user-friendly to pull the building off to the west a little bit so that the mini golf guests and the main golf guests would all go in that main entrance, and you're all serviced out of that same door on the west side of the building.
Mini golf is the main front door.
Yes.
Does this create any issues or any things that you're concerned about?
There were a list of items to add. See any issues in there. Basically, when you redo a drawing, it just things that I was looking at. Maybe not. The metrics, talking about stormwater and lighting. If you recall,
And I can touch on that because I've already forgot. We talked about it twice.
if you recall, this project was subdivided.
Yes.
So it needs an updated survey because that wasn't included in here. And then it was hard to tell if you were doing site work on the other because it shows like the parking area highlighted. I didn't think you were doing anything on the other site, but maybe you are.
Right. So again, historically, when we came in with the original proposal, we stopped that one because that was the special use was renewing for the golf course. So that's why we added that at the beginning. We lumped everything in. for the golf course and for this thing, because it just makes sense with that application.
And now we might have to.
Now that that subdivision is done down there and the stuff's done up there, or I'm sorry, I should say down there, we're just specifically looking at the changes associated with just this project.
I guess one of the questions is this a new application or clarification on the other ones because of things like the signage and some of the other stuff?
I think we're treating it as a revised, site plan.
So anything not addressed by this would remain the same as what was previously.
Yeah,
We
so
had
that,
done the seeker, last year and
so
That prevents wetland issues.
So Doug or Ed, you wanna just, for the purpose of arguing, pull it out, just go through.
Sure.
the-
So if you recall, last time it came in, you did ask for color architectural building elevations. Something you want to look at again. Samples of materials may be useful. You want to confirm flood zones, make sure that the mechanical systems are in the right place because they appear to be on the first floor now. It's not a big deal, but they raised above the floodplain elevations. Driveway cut that Ed talked about, there's a note on the drawing that says they're waiting for the DOT. Parking counts, I think we have it here, I'm assuming you have the right size on parking slots, 10 by 20.
Mhm.
Yeah. For the parking lot materials, asphalt, I'm assuming.
Yep.
There's a new ornamental fence on the project now. I want to look at a detail on that. Go back and forth on the outfall for the stormwater. Yeah, the drawings on the mini golf facility just says that the design is going to be by golfers. I don't know if that's something that the board wants more detail on or not. Detail was on the light. There were 5 different light poles, but there wasn't really any detail. There's a P, S1, and S2, a W1, and G2. Looked like on one of the electrical drawings, the electrical designer and lights up on the building, shining out onto the driving range. I don't know if those are still in or they were taken out. You see a lot of driving ranges, right?
Yeah.
Photometrics for, just double check photometrics on everything, including the mini golf. I didn't see one on that. DOH approval on the sanitary, I think you had that, but. New survey for the subdivision. I think it just needs to be cleaned up, right? The tax parcel 8.1 on the cover sheet, I think. If you go inside, it showed the other parcel with some work being done, but I don't think that's true. So just some cleanup. I mean, it's pretty much the same project that we've seen before.
Yeah.
If the materials of construction you said, other than the framing, is what is that?
yeah, so
And then the
that,
rest of it is what we've already seen.
correct. Same thing with the mini golf. It's the same mini golf package that we came in with before.
And the fence as well.
Yeah, I don't, that fence isn't, that's not new. That, the fence around the mini golf, that's always been there.
There wasn't a detail for it.
Yeah, that's fine. So I can
Yeah.
Yeah.
get that.
But I think, last time we looked at it, everybody liked the project, we had a great project for out there.
Yeah, I don't know what everybody else thinks about the samples of materials of construction or the colors. I mean, building was gonna look a little bit different, but the colors and materials are the same. Maybe the elevation.
That before, we're only taking the floor off. It's the same.
Yeah.
Same material, same color.
Small, I mean, yeah, there's some footprint sheets and stuff, but
Yeah, so I don't think
if it were a different situation, the answer might be different, but under these specific circumstances, personally.
I don't know. Anything about this, anyone who wants it to provide samples of materials of construction or the colors.
So as long as he's saying.
Adam, would you like to go?
Yeah, so I was
On the
listening.
list?
Yeah, so we can touch on that if
Okay.
you want to go through, like, Doug mentioned the floodplain. So we checked that. We checked those elevations. They were 3.2 feet higher than floodplain. Stormwater, I kept the stormwater the exact same, even the parking lot grading. I didn't touch the grades in the parking lot. So everything that was there before stayed. The only thing that I did, which is why I updated the SWIP and sent it to you, I couldn't get, because of the shift of the building to the west. Originally, the drainage for the mini golf, I captured it here, and I brought it this way to the pond. But because we moved the building this way, I couldn't do that anymore. So I just brought it this way. So it's the same pipe, I just went this way with it. Other than that, the basin, the storm basin stayed the same, outlets are the same. I didn't even touch the septic system. Have that designed exactly how we had it before, just to not rock the boat with the DOH review.
Sizing stayed the same.
Because septics are designed, these big mountain systems like that. The change in occupancy associated with this would be virtually negligible. I don't want to say zero, but it wouldn't be worth the.
But it also addresses some of the concerns of the neighborhood. So it reduces the size of the parking lot. That's a positive.
On the stormwater side. Yeah. 80 or thereabouts. 80.
Yeah, I think they should. Is there anything else we want to address that does this?
The only thing, well, the thing that we have to, I need to coordinate with the architect is the lighting. So he's showing the wall packs on the building. I did the site lighting, but it was just site lighting, parking lot, and then the lights for the driving range itself.
Yeah.
So to address Doug's comment, the only way for us to do that is to actually put the light contours on the lighting plan to reflect the building plan.
There was one on the electrical too, that looked like they were on the roof.
And there may be, like I said, I didn't do anything with the
Okay,
building,
okay.
so that coordination,
That's fine.
didn't do anything with that, yeah.
I don't have a problem. It's like everything else.
Looks like the golf course or the mini golf lights are
They are, yeah, so they have 15-foot tall down
like
shooting.
4-foot candle, the whole thing.
What's that?
It's like 4-foot candle.
I don't know.
That's good. No, not that you don't know, it's what's on here.
No, it is. One more thing I can come up with an excuse about. Yeah.
I have concern about the lighting. We're talking about flooding range lights. Right?
Range has lights too.
Yes, but it's flooding. I've seen the road company, affects traffic, the lights on.
Traffic driving by because this is really bright.
So I can answer that to some extent, because I ran into this with state DOT on another project last year. And their criteria is basically you just can't have any light spill out into the road. So we ran into this, actually, that may have been a comment on the entrance of this thing too. I think you had that comment last year. So you're not allowed to have any light spill out into the road. So, yeah, so that's addressed in here, it's far enough off the road there.
How about, yeah, do we, lights will be on, will they be on certain hours or all night?
Not all night, so the driving range lights will close when the facility closes.
Other than midnight.
Yeah. And last time we were on the board, wasn't overly concerned
I
about
think we're not
the
really
hours.
thrilled about it, but
And I think the idea was to go a little broader with the hours, with the idea that, you know, he may not come down in time. I mean, if everybody, you're open for a few months and everyone's chasing out of there at 9 o'clock, then they probably alter the business hours, but if you remember when John was talking, the other facilities that he's sort of mimicking with this thing, they tend to have a later
I get
crowd
that,
for
but
this.
yeah, I mean, I guess time will tell. I can see it on the weekends and stuff, but I'm not sure if it's on Monday night.
We're saying this is actually how that will work.
I recall that being the logic with the original application was that.
I can't express, like, because the open facility, there's no one
If no
there.
one's there, right?
Yeah.
And I understand why they want it until midnight.
Yes.
They can close at 10, but if they said 10 and it was still until 11, they're back and forth again.
But if the lighting doesn't, you know, go onto the road, stuff like you said, so I'm fine.
Nice. So parking lot with the one road now. That's not, I'm just wondering, have you thought anything about the traffic going through that first parking lot? Back and forth, there would be cars going back and forth.
Not really, because I think this type of business, it's steady flow. It's not like something where you have a big blast of traffic coming in and out, you know,
Yeah.
like a campground, for example. You know, when campers are coming and going, you get them backed up for a concert. With this, I think it's more of a consistent.
A speed hump or something. I'm just wondering if people are trying to get that drive range, it's trying to get through that mini golf area. It may not be a concern out.
I was actually just gonna make a comment on getting groceries, but I
Well,
didn't.
so with that, it's not ideal to have back out parking on a through area like that, but under the circumstances, I don't think it's bad. My question about that is about fire, like turnaround.
Mhm.
Do we have, because they could before, I think they could come around to, what's the fire truck situation?
So we ran, I can do it again. I mean, it's not a big deal. When we did the original one though, we did run the fire trucks through there. So I did a
So we
fire
can
training.
drive in and go around the island of parking and then go back.
Somebody would require, parking lot closest to the street. Like,
So, yeah, and so that was some of the logic with pulling the building a little to the west also, or a secondary benefit, was so that the folks doing the mini golf.
Intended drive to the big block is-
Yeah.
I think that's what's ultimately gonna happen. I think if, you know, most people, like you said, are gonna flood into the main lot because they have to go through that door regardless. But even if people are leaving and they park in that section to the north of the mini golf.
The door is there by the mini golf.
Yep.
Right by. or something.
Yes, correct.
All right, who else? Aaron is not as good as the house. That was very responsive to them.
I think so. I don't remember everything, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have it.
Oh,
I know there's
no.
a lot of lighting stuff, so we talked about that. And sign is. Approved, you say.
It's the same sign that you guys saw before. Yep.
It's in the same location.
With respect to the entrance, yes. Like coordinately, no, because we moved it south. Because it was correct.
So I started going back through this with the EAF because I submitted one. Last one, and I had like a bunch of little questions about it that I'm not sure it's worth going through here. I mean, if you want to pull it up, we can go through it. Otherwise, I can send them over. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Worth going through it in the public.
Okay, so if we were starting on, you might want to pull it up. Give a copy there. I don't want to start talking. And
I did
numbers
raise
and
the
stuff.
The EAS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also on the website. All right, so the first part, you know, on the top of the second page where you check all the coordinated review stuff. I think DOT, not DOH, it should be DOT on there. Whoever owns the road.
Yeah.
Then on the bottom of that box, it's just a spot where one of the things I don't think got checked. Versus the project site and then coastal erosion hazard. C2A, it says, do municipal adopted comprehensive plan, and you check yes. Then the next line is if yes, does it include specific recommendations for the site? Yes. It's just some little stuff like that, and then there are a few bigger ones, but I think it's just some stuff that just didn't get checked. C3,
Wait, what was that last one?
the comprehensive plan question.
Yeah.
There's the second part of that is if you check yes, does the comp plan have recommendations where it's located? And we have a copy, it's online. C3B, and you said it was about zoning. The first part is A, is the site proposed within municipality zoning law, you said yes, and you put RA. And then B is the use permitted or allowed by a special or a conditional use permit, and you check no, but I'm pretty sure that it's yes.
Is that special? Is that a special
Yeah,
use?
so the code, I have the code up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double check it for you. RA 155-12, section 6, and it's allowed subject to permit.
Which we have right on the agenda.
D1. C. It says proposed action expansion of an existing project or use. And you put yes, but in like typed in over top of the it says expansion of existing parking.
Oh, because I modified the old EAF, so when we went through the EAF last time, part of that, because we included that southern portion where John was expanding the parking lot.
Okay.
With the golf course.
Yep.
You guys had me add that expansion of existing parking, because technically it was like a yes and no question.
Okay.
So I just put that in parentheses to cover that.
D1. I 322, so it talks about the height. G, proposed action, non-new residential structure, yes, construction, yes. Dimensions, I think it just needs to be updated because of the taking the second floor off, because the 88 width and the 250 length, 260 length is correct, but it says 33 height. And on your elevation, it's 22. I think it just needs to be updated.
Yep. Yeah.
then D2, which is the project operations section, 2B, the wetlands. I know that we're kind of going to change over because some of this, because I wasn't sure if we were going for a new project or going for an amendment to the project. D2F. On-site air emissions, fuel combustion, waste and stuff like that. I think that should probably be yes, because there's, and then if yes, mobile sources during project operations, heavy equipment, stuff like that. It doesn't change the outcome of the project, it's just listing stuff. And then stationary sources during construction. Further on, you reference a generator, and that's included as one of the examples. So it's just a matter of listing out the basic types of equipment and power generation. We talked about the hours being the same in black. D2 and I think that the two wall mounted fixtures at 27 feet have changed because of the building height changing. And then I'm not sure if any of those other ones need to be updated. I didn't check them. D2Q. So it says, will the proposed action use pesticides or herbicides during construction or operation? And it says no, but is that really true? Golf courses almost always use something.
Well, it's not a golf course.
Driving range, I mean, are they gonna put anything on the lawns?
I don't think so. I can get some clarity, but they're not keeping this to the, level of a golf course.
Yeah.
So,
Like I said, I don't think this one either changes the outcome, it's just a matter of having this correct use. D2R. This one, like dumpsters and when it's solid waste. I think that basically includes what they're expecting to generate as far as waste goes. I've never seen this be specific.
so I always click no.
But they will generate something. I mean, if it's a 10-yard dumpster every 2 weeks, that's what it is. But I mean, it should say something. Okay, so now I'll just say E. 1B. So here's some number coordination. Like the acreage is listed here, and then there's two other spots where acreages are listed, and they don't all jive. The other two spots are D1B and D2E. E2H B. E2HB. E2HB. Sorry. That one, because the following line has something listed, Limestone Creek, that should probably be yes. Page 11.
That's not one of the, so we went through this originally, this was one of the comments that came through last year. And we clicked no there. I remember going through that, it's not one of the water quality impaired water bodies.
Then why is there one listed? Versus if yes.
Because it's not a water quality impaired water body.
It just says impaired water. Yeah, you could just take it off. You could just take it off if it's not. streams are considered a water body. Because above it, it says for each identified regulated wetland and water body, provide the following information. Streams, they're with all listed. So it says, are any of the above listed? And it says no, but then go and put it, so it's either change it to yes or leave it as no and take last recon. I don't know what the right answer is for you, but it just doesn't matter.
I'll look at it again. I
You wanna
remember
see it?
going, well, yeah, but I remember going through that, vetting that before. So that first part of it is, you know, that auto populates that
Yeah.
limestone creek and stuff, but I think I still think that no for B is correct. But I just need
Populated limestone creek below.
up above, see where it says name
Right, but
limestone.
did it auto populate? If yes, name of the prepared water bodies, and if put limestone creek, or did you check it?
Well, if you
I
scroll to the
don't
end,
remember.
it
I gotta
shows
go
you.
back through
Is
and,
it- Yeah.
If you scroll to the very end of this, it'll show
what
you.
Aaron, what you're saying is B, if it were just to be checked, yes. But it's,
You don't have to decide
Yeah.
right now, but think through
Yeah, I
it, 'cause
gotta-
it's not jiving with itself, you know what I'm saying? Probably not using for jive right now. Consistent is a better word. So that's all I have, on this, and then we talked about the netting. The most recent letter says no netting.
correct.
Is that, I don't know much about netting, and I know we talked about it a little bit before. I know there's an argument against it for birds and stuff. But I don't know what the range is on flag balls.
I have an
If they're
answer for
moving
that.
it If they're moving it 80 feet closer to the road, is that,
We're still far enough away.
Okay.
150 feet.
Good golf.
What's that?
Must be good golf. Beyond that.
No comment.
I would say you have to remove something first, because I'm sure I break a windshield if I. Some on the plans, CA 110. Which is the first segment blow up. I think it would be helpful. Impact signs shown on the plan. I would like to see them.
What do you mean? They are.
No, like the actual signs we have, because they go on the other side of the sidewalk from the parking space, there'd be one for each of
Call out for the actual
the actual signs.
sign.
Because there's no parking and then there's a handicap stall, so, I saw you had a sign on the details, but I don't think it showed all of the, there may be a note where it says for a different one for just the reserved parking van. Accessible, but there's usually one I think on the, on other spots that's in the parking or whatever. I think whatever the Justice Department's code is for that. And then as far as signage goes, would it be helpful maybe to consider a sign nearer the building, like a wayfinding sign? Because if I were coming here and I didn't know what it looked like that door, that sidewalk coming to the corner of the building is the way versus coming around to the side by the mini golf. Without looking at, you know, from a potential visitor standpoint, it might be something to consider.
Like the entrance this way sign or something.
Like, you know, a facility sign. I mean, that's a kind of a question to everybody else too. I don't know that it's super obvious that that's the main entrance. The sidewalks are the same way, too. Sometimes that helps to show. But, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
You don't have to agree, I just.
So. This is the parking lot
Yeah,
elevation. And this is the main elevation.
on the
So
side.
this, yeah, on the west side. So I mean, this is far more inviting than what appears to be more of like a service entrance
You
type.
can't see that part from the.
No, I understand, but I'm thinking, I mean, if you come in, I'm guessing, you know what I mean, from a customer standpoint, this is far more inviting than industrial type service store. Oh, you know. Yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there, it's something that I picked up from a planning perspective. I had a hard time figuring out how you get, what the material is inside the fencing for the mini golf, is that, so I was looking at on this same sheet. It looks like there's 3 separate like loops you could do. And they all kind of have little paved parts that lead up to the like church part, I think.
Mhm.
And so I'm curious, is there like, do the paved parts, what the mini golf? You said that was.
inside the fencing she's referring to.
Yeah, so on the right-hand side of the mini golf, where it looks like there's 3 separate loops you could do of poles.
It says designed by others, so there's no design included here.
Oh. Okay, well then I guess my question is, how is the access to the mini golf? Is there like another gate? Because otherwise these people would be walking across out the main door there and then across a stretch of grass into the fence for the mini golf. I'd like to see how that's tied together.
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing that Doug pointed out in his comment sheet, that we have plans by others.
How it all connects together.
Yeah, whatever the.
So I can
others'
talk
plans
to, I can talk to John about that, because I know that there's a specific vendor. Yeah, this group out of Maine, Bradford, Maine, is the one that he was working with on the specific for the mini golf, this, you know, just that design. But I can take a look at and ask a question about the coordination between access to the mini golf and the main entrance there. My guess is you're just gonna come out the door there with a patio or, you know, more concrete that goes over to the fence to a
It
gate.
may be, yeah, maybe
So-
that simple. And is there like one gate that you get in and then you access everything from within? Are there other gates for maintenance or, how does that work? Because I would like to see how people get from one to the other without. And then scene 20. There's a note out here about roof drains and gutters shall be connected to the storm sewer, common storm sewer through the building. I'm guessing that note needs to get changed because you moved it to the north side of the building, which is probably called the front instead of the rear. And then I thought it was, how come you're not splashing them on grade? How come you're connecting the roof drains? I thought the DEC really wanted roof drains, just even though it's dirty water, and it's also getting to the pump.
So with that, it's not getting to the pond, so the rooftop disconnect, I've been doing those a little bit more recently. I mean, I can take a look at that. My concern is they're gonna be out in the driving range area. I don't know how big they are. We've been doing them for single family residential stuff in subdivisions. And to be honest, I think they're somewhat offensive looking.
It can make a big mess if it's a lot of water.
Right, so I think, yeah, from a cleanliness standpoint, we got the credits doing it the way that we did. So I think we just assume connect those rooftops to the storm.
Okay, well then ultimately it's a dumb question. I just wanted to ask if it's not. And I think,
But that is, I mean, yeah, so I really, that note just ought to be revised to say connected to the 12-inch storm sewer, period. Because it's just gonna, the rooftops are gonna be connected to that storm.
So I also was kind of looking at, you left in, I mean, you mentioned that you left the stormwater system and the sanitary and all of that size for the original build out of the work you proposed it before, but this is currently still showing all the grading and, vegetation removal and everything. So this is showing that whole thing being graded as if it were a parking lot.
So what they want to do is keep that graded. Grade that when they grade everything and just keep it grass. And, I guess,
Why? It's unnecessary disturbance. unless it matters for your concept.
Well, I can tell you right now that we got the site pretty close to balancing. That I do know. So, our attempt with this exercise was also to kind of minimize, we got rid of all the asphalt and keep that, just keep that area graded that way.
And are you trying to prevent going back and redoing? Base is smaller, so I would probably change the curb numbers back and all that. But it just seems like it's unnecessary to have all of that rated as if it were gonna be a parking lot when it doesn't really even need to be disturbed. Obviously, those floating, the light, there's just.
Yeah, and I think, part of the other discussion that we had, and this can just be open for the board, I mean, we can view it that way, but with the parking, I've been saying this since the beginning of this application. I've said it with the wineries and the breweries and all the rest of this stuff. There is a tendency to, if there are events, overflow areas, and the last thing that any DOT wants or any local municipality is parking on the road, keep people off. So we do grade it that way. It's grass. We just keep that configuration that way in the event that there would be an overflow requirement or situation. You're there as opposed to side of the road kind of thing.
I get that. And I mean, it's a good point, but I feel like that's also just a reason after the fact.
I don't care about changing anything. I mean, quite frankly,
honestly,
you saw the effort that we went through.
No,
to
I
change
think,
everything, so
I
that's
don't, I'm not
not.
saying change it back, I think that makes a good point, but I just wanted to point out that, the light poles will have to be removed unless they're really wanting to put the light poles up there.
Yeah, that was my recommendation, because my thought on it is they have it proposed that way, they have everything running. You just grade it, leave it grass, and then you've got it there for potential, I don't want to call it emergency overflow, but event overflow stuff.
Well, I could see if they have like a wedding or they have something there, that would be very handy.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's gonna support a concert, but yes, if there's.
So did you want to leave the light poles out there too? Oh, I thought that was just a mistake on the. And then I assume that the drainage and the grading inside the practice green, how does that work? Is that just an underdrained, flat, artificial turf?
For the practice green, yeah. I'm imagining that's what they'll do for that, considering it's just a practice green.
Is that fenced in?
No. It's screened. They've just got some, if you look at the.
Plantings?
Yeah.
And then one other thing was the parking lot renovations down the property. Is that staying in this project?
No, because again, carryover from when I was coming in tonight, there was a question of how we were gonna do this. Is this a modification of an existing site plan? And because that was included with the original application, I wasn't sure if we could touch it or not. It's very simple for me to turn all that stuff off in the computer for the sake of this. Right.
Very much.
Mm.
Send to them some of their questions or comments, concerns. Yes, I just want to make sure that understands everything that is now seen in the past. Next time.
They did. That was another good catch. Yes, that was another building that we took off because they're just gonna platoon back over to the other maintenance building.
Right, and then you can be in contact with Doug as needed. Okay, so before we,
I'm always ready for public.
before we make decision on the public hearing, we're going, we can offer you a public hearing on July 14th, but the deadline is July 2nd for that meeting, which you think you Otherwise, it would be July 28th, and the deadline for that. July 16th. So July 2nd.
As far as the resubmission stuff,
Yeah, everything we
That's-
talked about. Yes, that next meeting.
so I mean, that's the July 2nd deadline is that's not a problem.
Okay. So with that being said, take a motion for a public hearing on July 14th.
Second.
Second by David, I saw Camber. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for public hearing July 14th. We have actually been there, actually Monday, June. This is an amendment, so.
Yeah.
That's it.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Rich, second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?